down my burdens,
down by the riverside.
Oh, way down
by the riverside.
Yes, way down
by the riverside.
I'm gonna lay down my burdens, oh yeah,
down by the riverside.
And I ain't gonna study, no,
no more.
Oh, I ain't gonna
study one no more.
I ain't gonna
study one no more.
I ain't gonna study no
war
no more.
Oh, study one no more.
I ain't gonna study one no more. I ain't gonna study one no more. I'm going to put down my sword and shield, yeah.
Down by the riverside.
Oh, way down
by the riverside.
Ooh, way down
by the riverside.
I'm gonna put down my sword and shield, yeah.
Down by the riverside.
And I ain't gonna study one no more.
I ain't gonna study one no more.
No, I ain't gonna study one no more.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Happy Tuesday to everybody. Man, I'm so excited to be on tonight. We are on Facebook and we're on YouTube. And yes, we're broadcasting to our YouTube audience as well as our Facebook audience on church. So the New Congregational Missionary Baptist Church, that's the church that I pastor. You guys are here. I see you guys. I see you guys on Facebook. I see you guys in YouTube land. And so I'm elated and excited to see the members of the church that I pastor here. And then there are also people here that are just a part of the YouTube community. They're not members of the church, but they are followers of the YouTube channel. So this is a wonderful joining of the YouTube community with the church community. And I'm so grateful to have all of you here. Auntie Millicent, I see you. My mama is here as well. Mom Robertson, Mother Tipton, I love you. Good to see you, Mother Tipton. Let's see. I see Mother Jeanette Hudson. I see your name there. I see Sister Sheila. Hey, Sister Sheila, God bless you. JM, salute to JM. Hello, good to see you. My big sister Sherry is here as well. Love you, Sherry. My auntie Melissa. Yes. I'm seeing all y'all. Mom Myrtle, mom number 2 is here. And you guys are still coming in as I speak. So hello. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're on for our Black Church History Lecture Series. And so, listen, if you're on YouTube and you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe. JM, thank you. JM is telling people to hit the like button. Also, JM, please hold down the moderator role for me here on YouTube. And I appreciate it. If you're watching on Facebook, you should like and share, invite other people in. Thank you, New Congregational. You guys are the best church this side of heaven. But without any further ado, let's get into our discussion tonight. I don't know how long we'll be on because we're really only going to highlight 5 people. So this may be a short session, but I think it'll be an informative session nonetheless. Righteousness and Justice Podcast. Salute to you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, Mom Hubbard. Mom Hubbard is watching as well. Love you, Mom Hubbard. Love you, Sister Hubbard. Love you so much. All right. Hey, Nichelle, good to see you. Yeah, y'all are coming on in. Come on in the room. All right, so tonight, we are talking about Black church leaders that history forgot, okay? So I really want you guys to lean in. I really want you guys to tune in. I really want you guys to listen closely because a man by the name of Nipsey Hussle. He's now deceased. He was a rapper. Some of my church members are like, Nipsey who? Not Nipsey Russell. Nipsey Hussle. He said this, and I tend to agree with him. This is what Nipsey Hussle said. He said, if you don't know your full throttle history, the whole story of how you came to where you are, it's kind of hard to put things together. And it's true. Listen, we live in a country that skews our history, doesn't really teach our history fully, suppresses a lot of our history, whitewashes a lot of our history, and we are we're harmed as a result of that effort. And so we're focusing on lesser known people tonight. Okay. And we're doing that because Black history, listen, guys, Black history is often told through a few famous names, and we should study those names. You know the names: Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King. You may get George Washington Carver. You may get Carter G. Woodson. We do need to study all these people. These are wonderful. These are great names. But listen, our history is broader than just those commonly known names. And when every year we only highlight those commonly known names, we are missing a lot of great information. We are forgetting the names of people that were very important, even though they're not often brought up, during Black History Month. And so this is a part of understanding our, what Nipsey Hussle called, full throttle history. All right. Also, listen, guys, many architects of Black religious life have been erased or minimized. What do I mean by that? Well, see, you have two problems with our history. One problem is that our history tends to be manipulated and skewed and whitewashed by those of the dominant culture. Okay. So a lot of information about Black luminaries, Black leaders, we are not hearing, and some of that is intentional. But number two, when our history gets in the hands of unbelievers, okay, secular people, people who are not followers of Christianity, what they also tend to do is remove all of the Christian and religious elements. So a lot of people don't know that Frederick Douglass was also a deacon in his church. He was very active in the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. A lot of people don't know that Harriet Tubman was a devout Christian as well, and they were motivated by their Christian faith, right? Why don't we know that? Because when our history gets in the hands of non-religious secular people, they tend to try to remove the faith from these leaders and erase the fact that these were people of faith and they were motivated by faith. And so we need to correct the record, and we need to show how people they largely did what they did because they were motivated by Jesus and the scriptures. Okay. Also, as Nipsey Hussle just said in this quote that I showed, if we forget the builders, we misunderstand the building. Okay. And there are more builders than just the commonly known names that we frequently hear during Black History Month. We need to celebrate those names, appreciate those names, right? But we need to learn more than just Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, and the common names that we hear during Black History Month. So we are going to talk about 5 people, 5 historical Black church leaders. And you guys know what I believe, right? You cannot fully understand Black history if you don't understand Black church history. The two are intertwined. So when I call these people Black church leaders, they are Black leaders. Okay. We're going to learn the stories of 5 of these leaders that have been forgotten and largely ignored during Black History Month. And we're going to learn why they are so important and why their stories matter today. So if you haven't shared this broadcast, share it. If you're watching on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, subscribe. We're glad that you're here. We want you to be a part of this conversation. It's crucially important that you're a part of this community to hear everything that we do. And of course, New Congregational, I love y'all so much. Y'all are the best church in the world. So let's start with our first person. You guys ever heard of Amelia E. Johnson? Now, I actually have a picture of Amelia Johnson on my wall. Now, for those of you guys wondering, I call this wall here in my office the Wall of Faith. The Wall of Faith. Why do I call it the Wall of Faith? Because all of these people that you see behind me on my wall, they were leaders, they were Christians, and they all, in some way, shape, or form, advocated for a Black freedom, Black dignity, Black economic mobility, and they did so out of, as an expression of, their devotion to Christ and the Word of God. So you see this picture right down here at the bottom. You see that? That is Amelia Johnson. Okay, and we're gonna talk about Amelia Johnson now. So she's actually born in Canada, y'all, Montreal, Canada. But she moves away from Canada and she moves to Maryland. So all my DMV people in here, all my DMV people, you should lean in because she left Canada with her family and she moved to Maryland. And the reason why I consider Amelia Johnson to be a hero is because she was a writer. And y'all know I'm a writer as well. I love to write. I've written 3 books. If you're a writer, you really should learn about Amelia Johnson. As a matter of fact, she wasn't just a writer, but she achieved distinction as the first Black author published by the American Baptist Publication Society. Now, that's a huge deal. I know today religious publishing houses, they're not as prominent. What's up, Christopher? They're not as prominent, as well known as they used to be. But in her day, to be an African American that was published by a Baptist a publication, particularly the American Baptist Publication Society, this was a big deal. She was the first Black author published by this society. And she released her debut novel entitled Clarence and Corinne in 1890, right? And hey, Sister Sharon, God bless you. Love you. Good to see you, right? And she was a huge advocate for enfranchising Black authors and bringing Black authors into prominence and inviting Black authors into spaces where they had been excluded from. So she was an advocate. Now, she was also a devout Baptist. She married a man. Now, listen, all my DMV folks, listen, you should write down the name Reverend Harvey Johnson, because Reverend Harvey Johnson was a former slave who got his freedom, and he became a very prominent, well-known Black Baptist leader in Maryland. And he advocated long before Dr. King, long before the Civil Rights Movement. Harvey Johnson advocated for civil rights and full enfranchisement of Black people. Well, Amelia Johnson was married to Harvey Johnson, and they became sort of like a Black church power couple, with Harvey preaching and advocating for civil rights and Amelia writing and creating books and novels that essentially discipled people. As a matter of fact, she produced a religious tract that emphasized moral redemption and divine providence, right? She wrote a novel entitled The Hazley Family, And this novel explored family dynamics and Christian ethics. She wrote poetry, short stories. And what she did is she wrote these stories to help people understand the Christian faith, to understand Christian living. So she was an author, but also she used her writing to be a discipler as well. Okay. And so again, she's a shero of mine, because she's like, look, I'm a woman, I'm black, and you're gonna hear about me, and you're gonna publish me. And not only are you gonna publish me, but you're gonna listen to me as I advocate for other black authors. You're gonna publish them, and the work that I produce is gonna be drenched in Christian doctrine, drenched in Christian ethics. And she is a shero for all of that. So remember this name, Amelia E. Johnson. Again, y'all, she's on my wall of faith. There she is right there, along with other people. All right. So that's the first one. Now, if you've heard of Amelia Johnson before tonight, let me know in the comment section. I'm sure many of you have never heard of Amelia Johnson. All right, let's move to our second person. This is the Reverend Jeremiah Wesley Loguin. Now, if you're in upstate New York, if you're anywhere near Syracuse, you should listen closely. All right. Even if you're in LA like I am, and the rest of the members of New Congregational, we're in LA. We should still listen closely, because when we think of the abolitionist movement, we think of names, rightly so, like Frederick Douglass. We think of names like Harriet Tubman, right? And we should. These are prominent names. But y'all, Jeremiah Loguin's name should be included right alongside those names, because Jeremiah Loguin is also known as the Underground Railroad King. He lived from 1813 to 1872. And listen, y'all, he helped over 1,500 enslaved people reach freedom. As a matter of fact, his home in Syracuse was a frequent stop on the Underground Railroad. And so he would go around the country, just like Frederick Douglass. He would go around the country giving speeches and writing as well to abolish slavery. He was born in 1814 in Tennessee. His mother was enslaved, and guess who his father was, y'all? His father was the white enslaver. So he's a product of the brutality and the assault that happened regularly on plantations all throughout the antebellum South. Okay. However, he escapes his enslavement and he flees to Canada, and then he later moves to Syracuse, New York. He became a teacher, and then he became a licensed preacher within the African Methodist Episcopal denomination. So listen, man of faith, believed the word of God, was thoroughly Christian. And honestly, you need to put him right alongside Harriet Tubman as it pertains to the work that he did on the Underground Railroad. And Jeremiah Loguin also famously rebelled against the unjust Fugitive Slave Act. Fugitive Slave Act is a law that came out that essentially said if an enslaved person reached a free state, y'all, it's kind of hot in my office. I got my heater on, and my heater it gets hot quickly, so I'm gonna open my door because I'm kind of hot. Okay, I'm gonna let hold on 1 second. Okay, I turned my heater off. It's hot, getting hot. My heater is extra strength, y'all. That heater blows heat, and if you don't monitor it, after a while you start melting, and that's what's happening in here. And by the way, if you hear some sounds outside, that's because we have our praise team rehearsal happening while I'm doing this this broadcast. So you may hear some sounds. That's all right. We gonna get through it. New Congregational knows how it is, right? New Congregational knows how it is. All right. So Reverend Laguin famously opposed the Fugitive Slave Act. And this is the act. It's Jeremiah. His name actually originally was, I think his name originally was like Jermalagu. So he had the same last name as the white enslaver that victimized his mother. And he had a different first name as well, but he changed his last name. He actually added the N to his last name because, of course, he didn't want to be identified with the enslaver that assaulted his mother. And then his middle name was Wesley because he was a fan of John Wesley and Wesleyan Methodism. So it was Jeremiah. Now I think there are some outlets that refer to him as Jermaine, but it's actually I think Jeremiah is his proper name. So the Fugitive Slave Act is a law that was passed that essentially said if an enslaved person crossed over into free territory, into a free state, that enslaved person could still be captured and sent back into bondage. So it didn't matter if they reached a free state, right? And there were also many free black people that were essentially kidnapped under this law and sent into slavery unjustly because of the Fugitive Slave Act. Jeremiah Laguin opposed this law publicly. He famously said this: "I don't respect this law. I don't fear it. I won't obey it. It outlaws me, and I outlaw it and the men who attempt to enforce it on me." Hey, if you're listening to me out there, somebody's listening to me and it's echoing. Y'all turn it down, y'all. Somebody's listening to me out there and it's echoing in here to throw me off. What's up, Pastor Keaton? Good to see you. Salute. So listen, Jeremiah Laguin serves for us as an example of a pastor, a man of God, somebody dedicated to sound theology and the Word of God, who opposed chattel slavery, racism, unjust systems, and he did it visibly, he did it openly, and he serves as a model for us today. As we're living in a time where this administration is ignoring the rule of law, trampling on the Constitution, right? Normalizing brutality in our streets, law enforcement that really, functions more like the Gestapo than actual trained civil law enforcement. Right? We can take cues from Reverend Jeremiah Laguin and say, no, not only will we fight and advocate, but we'll also resist, and we'll also name when something is unjust, and we'll name when something needs to be ignored. A law needs to be ignored because it infringes upon actual civil constitutional rights and civil liberties. Okay. So, all right, I can close my door now. All right. So that's Reverend Jeremiah Laguin. Okay. Listen, if you are watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, if you haven't liked or shared the broadcast, New Congregational, come on, y'all like and share the broadcast. Appreciate y'all. So we've talked about two people so far. Two people. Let's go to the third person. Y'all, this is Elizabeth Hobbs Keekley or Keckley. You heard of her? Elizabeth Hobbs Keekley or Keckley. Now, So we just learned about Reverend Jeremiah Laguin. He was a product of an enslaved woman and the enslaver, the white slave master, assaulting his mother. Well, Elizabeth Hobbs Keekly, she actually endured assault and ended up, as a result of the assault by her enslaver, she ended up having a son named George. So this type of stuff was widespread, guys. Like, this is why the institution of chattel slavery was so disgusting and so evil. And you actually, listen, and this is the sad part, you actually have people today, so-called preachers, trying to sanitize chattel slavery and arguing that those that participated in this institution were somehow good Christian men and women, when this system was anti-Christ, unbiblical. And we see we've now two people, one a product of assault, and this woman, Elizabeth Keckly, she was actually assaulted and gave birth to a child named George. However, her mother trained her to be a seamstress. And Elizabeth Keckly became an exceptional dressmaker. Right? She became so amazing at dressmaking that she earned enough money eventually to purchase for herself and her son freedom in 1855. Okay, so she purchased. She's a dressmaker. She's amazing at it. Purchases of freedom, and then guess where she moves, y'all? She moves to DC, and she becomes the most sought after dressmaker in the city. So much so that she's hired by Mary Todd Lincoln. Do you know who that was? Mary Todd Lincoln. You ever heard of that name? Former First Lady, the wife of Abraham Lincoln. So Elizabeth Keckly, or Keekly, is so amazing at her craft. She creates this amazing business and becomes the dressmaker for the First Lady of the country. She doesn't just become her dressmaker, but she becomes her friend. Now, here's the thing that you need to know about Elizabeth Keekly, or Keckly. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it. She was a devout believer in Jesus. She was a devout Christ follower. She was an active member of the 15th Street Presbyterian Church. Prior to that, she was a member of a Methodist church. She followed Jesus closely. And her faith, listen, her faith led her to recognize that she couldn't just become wealthy and ignore the social crisis of the land. Because she was a Christian, she realized that to whom much is given, much is required. She wasn't just going to sit up there and have all this influence and have all this money as a result of dressmaking and not enter the struggle. So in 1862, alongside other church members, so this was her along with her church, she helps to launch the Ladies Contraband Relief Association. And she serves as their first president. And the whole goal of this organization is to assist formerly enslaved people who fled Union lines during the Civil War, and also formerly enslaved people that fled to freedom. She took her wealth, her influence, and advocated for these people, assisted these people, helped these people to become enfranchised, helped these people to get jobs, helped these people to get clothing. So she is an example of a woman who was so rooted in Jesus that she wouldn't allow her wealth to go to her head and cause her to forget the plight of those that were still being victimized, brutalized, mistreated. She was the friend of Mary Todd Lincoln, and she could have easily said, you know what, I'm doing well. I'm friends with the first lady of the country. I'm just going to turn a blind eye, but her faith would not allow her to. All right. So she becomes close friends with Mary Todd Lincoln. Both of them lose their sons during the Civil War, which solidifies their bond. And this woman of God uses her business to launch an organization that assists formerly enslaved people. Okay. Do y'all get the picture here? Do y'all get the picture here? Here's a lesson that we can take from Elizabeth Keckley. Christ compels us to constantly ask ourselves, what are we doing with the favor he's bestowed upon us? Is our Christianity just some badge that we wear? Or does it compel us to oppose racism, racist violence, and aid and assist those impacted by it, those harmed and hurt by it? Christianity should call us to put our money where our mouth is, to put our privilege where our purse is. And she bought her own freedom, became friends with the first lady. And she could have said, I'm on easy street now, but she didn't. All right. So she's our third personality. Yes, it is. It's amazing. It is very amazing. That's why I want you to hear these names, and I want you to know these people, and I want you to be aware of their stories. So before we go to the fourth person, I want to remind everybody that what we're doing tonight is happening every single Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So every single Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be live both on Facebook and YouTube with our Black Church History lectures. Today is the second installment of the series. Next Tuesday, our discussion will be around the sacred music of the Black church, from the Negro spirituals to gospel, the history of all that. So we invite you to be here every Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m., whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Facebook. I guarantee you won't regret it. All right. So let's move along to the next person. This is Elias Camp Morris, 1855 to 1922. If you are or your family is from Arkansas, you got some background in Arkansas, you want to lean in, because guess where this man is from? He hails from Arkansas, a little town called Helena, Arkansas. And he pastored a church in Helena, Arkansas called the Centennial Baptist Church. And he organized Baptist associations as well. Now you have to understand, see, Baptist associations back in the day wasn't just for church life. These associations, yes, they help the churches and the pastors to organize, and they help the churches to stay in fellowship and link. Yes, all that is true, but these associations also worked tirelessly for Black uplift, for Black enfranchisement, for civil rights and things of that nature. So when you hear of somebody not just pastoring, but also organizing Baptist associations, this is somebody not just committed to, advancing the cause of his own church or of his own community, but he's also committed to, Black flourishing, period. So he organized these Baptist associations, and he was actually elected president of the Arkansas Baptist State Convention. This is a position that he held for 35 years. And listen, under his leadership, he launched a very influential newspaper, and he also helped establish what became Arkansas Baptist College. So you see that? I'm a pastor, but I also care about our people being educated. I'm a pastor, but I also want to see people learn and grow in their scholastic achievements, right? His call to pastor wasn't just a call to preach, wear gaiters, and run revivals. But he said, no, in this role, I'm going to see what I can do to help people get educated. I'm going to see what I can do to help people become enfranchised. And in 1895, y'all, in 1895, Elias Camp Morris, also known as E.C. Morris, he became the president of the newly formed National Baptist Convention. Yes, at one point, there was just one Black National Baptist Convention, and it formed in 1895. And it was the largest Black Christian denomination in the United States. So in that role, and he served in that role until his death. From 1895 to 1922, he served in that role. So he would have been like kind of the Black president, right, in that role. Black people were largely, they were either Baptist or Methodist, but more so Baptist than anything else. Now, he was also an entrepreneur. And he was also involved in politics, right? Because again, I'm not just a preacher. I care about people. I don't just care about preaching, right? Which is something that we should care about, because we know how are people saved? By the preaching of the gospel. But that's not all I care about, because I care about bodies and souls, right? I don't just care about people going to heaven. I also care about people being treated fairly, justly, and rightly down here on earth. And so he entered into politics. He was a business owner, but he wasn't just a business owner. He also advocated for Black economic development through the Negro Business League. He actively called out Jim Crow laws as being disgraceful, right? And so again, this is a pastor preacher who used his influence as a pastor preacher, as a leader, not just to preach, not just to run revivals and say, hey, Doc, we having church today. But he used it to help Black people become educated, enfranchised, build businesses, have some political power as well. All right, we almost done, y'all. We almost done. We've talked about 4 people. Now, if you have any questions, then I'm going to open it up for Q&A in just a minute. But we're down, I think, to the very last person that we're going to highlight tonight. If you're just joining us, please go back and watch the replay, because I guarantee you'll be enlightened and blessed by the replay. But before I get to the last person, and before we wrap up for tonight, if you're a pastor and you're listening to me right now, listen, our history is under attack. When I say our history, I'm talking about Black history. I'm talking about Black church history. There's a concerted effort to diminish and essentially extinguish the witness and legacy of Black people and Black communities since arriving on this continent. And we can't let that happen. And if you're a pastor, if you're a church leader, there's something that I want you to watch. It's only about 2 minutes long. There is a project that we have launched. When I say we, it's the organization that I lead, Black Church Empowered, along with another organization called the AND Campaign. We have partnered to launch a project called the Sacred Memory Project. And we're wanting pastors and church leaders to join us in this project to ensure that we, the Black church, we protect and advance and promote our history, that we stand against the onslaught coming against us and attacking our history. So pastors, church leaders, as a matter of fact, everyone, this is just a short 2-minute video that I want to show you. And then we'll highlight the very last person. I'll take any questions that you have, and then we will be done. So watch this.
According to the National Park Service website, Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Juneteenth are no longer listed as free admission days, but several days were added: Flag Day on June 14th and Constitution Day on September 17th.
President Trump targeted the Smithsonian museums, saying they are, quote, out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been.
Are you aware that this new version of the bill from the Senate removes the writings of Frederick Douglass?
I am.
Are you aware that this new version of the bill from the Senate removes the writings of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yes.
During a New York Times interview, Donald Trump decried the impacts of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, arguing that it ultimately led to white people being, quote, very badly treated.
Everywhere I go, there's an angel there. There's an angel there.
The Sacred Memory Project is an initiative created to mobilize Black churches as sanctuaries of faith and sacred archives of history. Together, we aim to ensure that the Black church remains a trusted center for truth, cultural preservation, and intergenerational connection. We're after 100 plus Black churches pledge to be hubs of sacred memory.
He never leaves me alone. He never leaves me alone. He'll never leave me alone. He never leaves me alone. Everywhere I turn.
So that's the the Sacred Memory Project. If you're a pastor or church leader, I want you to go to this website. Once we're done, don't do it now. I'm putting this the website in chat. I want you to go to this website, www.andcampaign.org/sacred memory. It is completely free. There will be a kit that will be emailed out to you after you register. Listen, we got to stand as the front line against attacks upon our history. And so we hope that you'll join us in this work and in this effort. All right. We are down to the last Black church figure. Have you ever heard of Clara Ann Howard? Clara Ann Howard. Now, if you're from Georgia, you live in Georgia, you need to listen up. She's from Georgia. And she actually became skilled at building carriages. Her father taught her how to build carriages, and they wanted a better life. As a matter of fact, her father, who had been enslaved, wanted a better life for his family and for his daughter particularly. So the family moved to Atlanta, and the goal was for Clara Ann Howard to go to school. All right. The importance of education. Right. And so, Clara Howard's father knew that without an education, you face an uphill battle, and it's harder to succeed in life. So Howard, after moving to Atlanta, enrolls into an institution called the Atlanta Baptist Female Seminary. This institution still exists today in Atlanta, but it goes by a very different name. The Atlanta Baptist Female Seminary is now Spelman College. That's right. Did you know that Spelman College started in the basement of Friendship Baptist Church? And it started as the Atlanta Baptist Female Seminary. The goal was to train women, Black women specifically, to be missionaries, to teach the Word of God. And I think they also taught some other kind of domestic traits. And so Clara worked hard. By all historical accounts, she excelled. She became a top student in her class, and she graduates in 1887. She became a public school teacher after she graduated. So shout out to all the teachers out there. Okay. But she began to feel a burden in her heart. And it was a burden for the unsaved in distant lands. So even though she's a teacher, in 1890, she makes a bold decision to become a missionary. She's educated. She's a teacher. She says, but God is calling me to something else. She becomes a missionary, and she's assigned to Congo in the French Congo. And she was committed to her work. She ran a school there of about 100 children at the mission. All right. She also gave special attention and care to 30 boys, underprivileged boys who lived at the mission full time. So she would cook meals, she would help with clothes, and she taught lessons, and she shared the gospel. So she let these African children know that they were loved. Dignity. Okay. She stayed in the French Congo for about 5 years, and then she returns to the United States in 1895. And you would think, okay, like she's been a missionary, she's done all this amazing work, right? But remember, she's a Christian. She loves the Lord. And she's motivated to be a blessing to people outside of the United States, inside of the United States. So guess what she does? She returns to the Atlanta Baptist Female Seminary, aka Spelman College. She worked as a staff member, she works as a teacher, and she actually becomes the matron of the student boarding department. And so in this role, she does something similar to what she did in Africa. She cares for the young women living on campus. And by all historical accounts, y'all, she made the dorm feel like home. She got to know the students personally. She counseled them, supported them through hard times. And she was known as creating a spirit of sisterhood on campus at Spelman. So much so that the then president of the school, a woman by the name of Harriet E. Giles, the president of the school, valued Howard's work so much that she honored her by naming a dormitory after her. So there's a dormitory to this day, listen, y'all, named after a Black woman who was an educator and a missionary overseas. And this dorm reminds students of her service, her care, her compassion. So the next time, like, somebody, you hear somebody, what is the black church, black Christians ever done for the black community? You can point to Claire Ann Howard. She was thoroughly Christian, so much so that she gave her life to minister to children in the French Congo. Comes back and continues to give her life to minister to young girls at school. She, in fact, is a shero as well. So let's talk briefly about what these leaders have in common. We've talked about Amelia E. Johnson. We've talked about Jeremiah Laguin. We've talked about Elias Camp Morris. We've talked about Elizabeth Hobbs Keekley, and we just talked about Clara Howard as well. So here are the takeaways. Thank you, Riley. Appreciate you, Doc. Appreciate you. Great teaching. Appreciate you. God is good. God is good. So listen, y'all. They were a part of building institutions, not just moments. They labored to build and to advance institutions that would aid and assist our people in tremendous ways. So many of us, so many people today are so like anti-institution. And let me just say this. Institutions can be harmful, but it depends on the people who run those institutions. You get some good, godly, Christ-loving people in these institutions, and guess what? These institutions can create enormous safety nets and beneficial programs and other things as well. And so, you know, while you know, we got a lot of people that are anti-institution, maybe you should learn from these people. They brought their faith into these institutions. Some of them started institutions for God's glory and for the good of others. Also listen, they served both church and community. I've been talking about this. New Congregational, y'all know I've been talking about this. New Congregational, come on, y'all listening to me. We've been talking about our vision and our mission. Our vision is to be an influential hub of tangible gospel hope that reaches into our church, community, state, country, and world, right? So yes, we want God to use us inside of our church, but we don't want to neglect the community outside of our church. As a matter of fact, we want our community to benefit from our presence. And these people served both church and community. They were pastors and politicians. They were deaconesses and business owners. Okay. Also listen, they worked across preaching, publishing, organizing, and relief across the spectrum. All right. Listen, there's so much more that we can do within the black church than just preach. As a matter of fact, far too many people trying to preach. Right? Preaching is good. Preaching is great. But there are other things that you can do. We need more authors. We need more people telling our stories. We need more people writing books that dignify us. We need more people contributing to discipleship through writing and authorship. Also, guys, all of these people, they were essential, even if history tried to forget them. These people are important. And there are many more. These are just 5. There are many more. these people had a huge impact upon society for Black people, even though many of you are just now hearing about them. All right. That about does it for tonight. Any questions? We are right at about oh, my phone died. So I think we're almost about 7:30. And so, I want these to go about an hour. I never heard of 4 out of 5 people you discuss. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No problem. It's my pleasure. I know. A lot of these names are obscure, not very well known, but that's what we do here. We want to shine light on these and others. And so again, thanks, JM. Appreciate you. Again, I want to see all of you guys next Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. right here or on Facebook. New Congregational. Thank you guys for being on. This is something, y'all, that started at our church. We just now opened this up to the YouTube community. And so, y'all, I am grateful to our church. Our church, we are a loving, welcoming people. So we love the YouTube community. And so every Tuesday night, we're here both on YouTube and Facebook. And so we want to see you every Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. for the Black Church History virtual lecture series. Hope that you have been blessed and enriched by tonight and by this information. I don't see any questions. So I'm going to assume that there aren't any. Appreciate you guys. See you guys next time. All right. Enlighten for sure. I love it. All right. Grace and peace. Bye-bye.
I'm gonna lay down my burdens
Down by the riverside.
oh, way down.
Down by the riverside.
Yes, way down.
Down by the riverside.
I'm gonna lay down my burdens, oh yeah.
Down by the riverside.
And I ain't gonna study, no.
Want no more.
Oh, I ain't gonna
Study want no more.
I ain't gonna
Study want no more.
I ain't gonna study, no.
Want
War, no more. Oh,
study want no more.
I ain't gonna study, want no more. I ain't gonna study, no. Want no more. I'm going to put down my sword and shield, yeah.
Down by the riverside.
Oh, way down.
Down by the riverside.
Ooh, way down.
Down by the riverside.
I'm gonna put down my sword and shield, yeah.
Down by the riverside.
And I ain't gonna study.